because we're still working on that stuff, right? You know, that mortgage fraud, the bailouts, the whole 9 yards that Obama. Yeah. So, that's a big deal. And, the White House, unfortunately, you have to imagine that the president is standing and he's surrounded by sharks.
Mm-hmm.
And information that you or I or anybody unearths or wants to say will most likely never get to him unless you make enough noise. And this is why, again, circling back to the Operation Gridlock, they are constantly, shutting us down. And in one way, Paladin, I'm just going to say, it's everybody's fault. Because you know how everybody follows everybody? They're like, follow me back,
Right.
It's like, that's the dumbest thing to do. You know that, right? Because you're doing exactly what they want you to do. That's Operation Gridlock.
Right.
Because Paladin, if you're following 10,000 people and you're followed by 10,000 people, let's pretend that 10,000 people you follow. Are you going to see every single person's tweet?
No.
All right.
Well, if I even tried, I would not get to see anything else in a day, right? I mean, There's not enough hours in a day to go through all that.
Right. But if you're following 1,000 people, you might, right? And if you're shadow banning, you're definitely not going to see the stuff Twitter doesn't want you to.
Right.
So the less people you follow, the more you see, even if they're shadow banned.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone has joined in, right? Has joined in on their Operation Gridlock by doing the whole follow back movement. Why? Because the patriots supposedly that started it were actually sock puppets of the deep state.
Mm-hmm.
They were put on Twitter to say, "Ooh, follow me back. Here's a train." You know that was an operation by the CIA to make you not be able to see the news.
Right. More distractions. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, we're to blame. Like, so many people were like, "I'm not following you because you're not following back." I'm like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Don't, because I can't follow you because you're not sharing stuff I want to see.
Right.
And maybe you're sharing two things, but I follow people that have small accounts, but they're retweeting like 10 other accounts that I want to see. Mm-hmm. So I pick that account to follow for now because they're retweeting 10 of those people that I want to see. So I don't have to follow them because I don't need it congested. How am I going to see the news? How am I going to see it break?
Right.
So, we're all participating in this Operation Gridlock. So that way, people can't see stuff. Like, I follow 1,000 people and that's a lot. I have to go back down and reduce it because I'm missing things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because I don't care what people say. It's because I need to see what certain people say. Like, I'm not going to follow Judge Janine. Like, I follow her sometimes and then unfollow her because I could just go to her Twitter because I know it by heart.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to see what she has to say, I want to see what the little guys are saying,
right.
The doers, the Q decoders, those are the people that I want to look at. So, we're all to blame, all of us.
Yeah.
You say it and people hate it. And it's like, well, this is what PSYOPs are,
Yeah, that's right.
They make you think you're doing it yourself and you're just like, wait a minute, what? Yeah, they conned you. They did it and they're doing it on Facebook too. They're shadow banning the people you need to see. So if you're only following 300 people, you're going to see everybody's stuff, even if they're shadow banned.
Yeah.
It's a really big deal. So with the IG of the NSA, we need to get rid of him. IG of the State Department, he's going to be going in front of a hearing soon.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that I could see Ratcliffe strut his stuff in, say, hey, boom. You see this server? Oh, this is a treasure trove.
Yeah.
Sources tell me, here's this. Through that server is how he communicated to send over, get this, State Department lawyers to the Foreign Intel and the, Select Intel Committee on impeachment. So the State Department was giving Democrats lawyers to impeach the president.
Mm-hmm.
All of that is on that server. All of it. And his communications with Atkinson and his communications with Storch and his communications after Obama left the White House. So that's going to be a big deal. So I'm hoping that happens super quick. I don't know about you.
Are you good with Ratcliffe?
I love Ratcliffe.
Okay.
And Millie Weaver actually interviewed him and he was like super chill. She said, He was very, forthcoming, very kind. I like him. And the fact that he was confirmed at, what was it, 49, 44, right?
I think you're right. Although, 49, 42, I thought, but yeah, it's 49 something. Yeah,
It's still
right.
a bad number because it's never gotten into the double digits of the nose.
Mm-hmm.
So that means they don't like him. That means we just need to look at all the people that don't like him and say,
Right.
Guess we don't need to be in office right now. But some of the 49 hid there too. I'm pretty sure.
Right. Okay, so where does Grinnell go?
Okay, so Grinnell, I think I said this last week. He's not going to be going to Germany, and that was confirmed today. He's resigned.
Okay, because he as acting ODNI, he was still ambassador to Germany.
Yeah, so his position was there, right?
Okay.
But he resigned from that position in Germany. And it's like, Merkel's obviously super happy about that because he was like the biggest thorn in her behind.
Right.
And their intel community. I can tell you from my sources in Germany, like they hated him.
Okay.
And this is their words. Well, they use the F word for gay man, right?
Yeah.
There's one. They were like, this effing gay man, should be a little bit gayer. He's so square. He's not listening. We should all be united under one, blah blah. They hated him, and that's something that I'm like, yeah, you go, boy. If you can get the Nazis to hate you, that's a good thing. I'm okay with that.
Right.
But anyway, people think that he's going to go to the campaign. And he would be great there because then he can kick Karl Rove out. I want to know who put Karl Rove in there.
Oh my gosh. Is that true?
Oh my God, yes, it is. And I was like, okay, this is Twitter playing tricks on me. This is not happening.
Oh, so yeah,
do you remember Karl Rove from like?
You mentioned earlier about the synchronicity of the mainstream media, how they all say the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was told back when Junior was president that every, I don't know, Tuesday or every Wednesday, Karl Rove had a conference with all the media giving them their talking points for the week.
Really?
That's what I heard. And this was from a media person who was involved with the media at that time. And she was, she left, but she said, yeah, Rove would have a video conference call with, media representatives, and he would basically give them the talking points for the coming week. And there was one time, I'll never forget this, and this was when Obama was president, but I remember going into the 7-Eleven or whatever, the convenience store to get some candy and gum and cigarettes and, a Red Bull, my health food. And I was standing there in line and I looked at the newspaper rack and they had 5 newspapers there and they all had the same headline. And this was after Obama had made some speech about something, and they all had the same, all 5 of them. It was like a Wall Street Journal and a local paper and a New York Times, and I forget what all they were, but there were 5 different newspapers and they all had the same headline. Well, so what you said before is accurate.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no.
And when I heard that about Rove, because I saw that on your Twitter, I'm thinking, this is the guy that orchestrated, according to this person that was in our group. This is the guy who orchestrated the talking points every week while Bush was president.
Wait, but it gets better than this. So Karl Rove also was the lawyer for Bill Clinton as a rapist, because everyone still thinks Monica Lewinsky was an affair. Like, what kind of mistress is going to hold on to a dress with sperm and say, see, here's the proof? It's like, you're supposed to be a mistress. It's supposed to be a secret.
Right.
You don't run to authorities with a dress with sperm. Like, seriously. We all know it was rape, okay?
Yeah.
We all get it because it's like, I'm a woman. So if I was the mistress of the president, I wouldn't be like holding on to dresses with sperm and saying, oh yeah, this is what he did to me with this. It's like so dumb. So he represented Bill Clinton as a rapist. And here's the weirdest part. So this just happened. So I'm like, what the hell? Who suggested this? whoever suggest, like if I was ever like, hey Tori, you could come on as a consultant, to the Trump campaign, it'd be like, you're fired, you're fired, you're fired.
Mhm.
Who suggested Karl Rove? I did. You're fired. That's
Yeah.
what should happen, because he was hired by Mark Zuckerberg, right? Last year. Get this,
Mhm.
on a committee, get this, that talks about election integrity. Like, why the hell would
Oh,
you get someone that's on Mark Zuckerberg's, the Android bot Zucker, who did a simulation of cutting his hair on air? Did you see?
yes. Oh my
Um,
gosh.
he hired him to look into election integrity. Why would you put him on your campaign? That's just
Mhm.
asking for a breach of security. Like, that should have been a red flag for Secret Service to be like, no. Hard no from Secret Service. Thank you. It should have been right then and there. I don't know. I mean, and he's a Bohemian Grove guy. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Well, sometimes I wonder. I wonder if Trump brings these people in just to expose them. But I can't.
I can't have him expose now in his campaign. Like, what? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, the person that recommended him should be fired. It's
Hmm.
kind of like I said, who told them to say the word flatten the curve? Fire them.
Yeah.
Because the flatten the curve was what the left was saying. They just need, who suggested this guy? Fire them. Who said fire them? Period. Like Ty Cobb. What was McGahn thinking? Hiring Ty Cobb for White House counsel and
Yeah.
pass on Matt Whitaker. Why would you bring Ty Cobb? Are you insane? It's like you were asking to help impeach the president. Like, what's going on? You're fired. That's the way it should be. So, this is a really big deal with the whole election spiel. And
Yeah. Okay, let's shift gears a little bit. Who's going to get arrested?
so we're talking after Labor Day, right?
Whenever you want.
Well, so they're all going down. I actually had this conversation with my mother too. She was like, he didn't do anything. Everyone's still around. I know Hillary Clinton's corrupt and I don't even follow politics. So they're all going to be done. We've already had arrests. Okay.
Yeah.
Rank and file arrests. But this is going to get pretty heated pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe, unfortunately, because we have elections, we have to kind of be very careful, because we do have a lot of idiots. You see them driving in cars with masks right now as we speak.
Right.
Okay. And they're killing off the elderly population that votes Trump. So we have to be very, very careful how we do this. So after Labor Day, I mean, it's going to be pretty insane, because we don't want it to be buried with the elections. We want people to see that they're being held accountable, right?
Right.
So it has to be done after elections, unfortunately, for those nice perp walks. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that it would happen March of 2021. And hear me out why. So January 2021, we're going to be having the tribunals for 9/11 finally. I mean, how long has it been? Like 20 years?
20 years. Yeah.
Yep. And in the meantime, while they were appointed to actually pick juries and do whatever, all the judges have resigned. Did you notice that?
Yep.
That's really weird. So we're appointing judges at tribunals for Gitmo too. So, this whole Sessions discussion that we're seeing, totally a play. You see it, right? The script.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You see the script, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and I wanted to say, so that's when we would ideally see it, March 2021. When we have the new judges in the tribunals, elections are over, and they can all go to jail and everyone could shut up. And even though they're going to be screaming like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, he's a dictator. I can't believe it. It's like Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve, he's going to be like, so Federal Reserve dead. Let's bring back the gold back currency. And then no matter how much they hate him, they're like, what? We could go to McDonald's for 15 cents and get a burger. Yep. Totally voting for Trump a third time. So let's give him back that term that he lost the first time around. That's probably what's going to happen.
And it's interesting you mentioned that about Sessions, because we heard a few months ago Sessions was down in Gitmo setting everything up for the tribunals.
Well, and then he had like a verbal spat with the president, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, But we all know, like, a lot of people are like, Barr appointed Durham. And it's like, no, he didn't. I
Yeah,
actually broke
Sessions
that
did.
story.
Yep.
It was
Sessions did.
actually Sessions that did
Yep.
it.
And he
And
appointed Huber too, didn't he?
yes, and that's, how you see it. There's an article that I wrote. I think I have it on ToriSays.com. I'm pretty sure. Did I put it on Loomer.com? I'm not sure. But there was a transcript from McCabe being questioned, and Gowdy was like, yeah, so he was asking him something. He's like, well, right now I'm being questioned by the prosecutor. He's like, Huber, and he's like, Durham. He's like, you mean Huber? He's like, no, Durham. He's like, Huber. He's like, no, John Durham. That was in 2018. So it's like, so when people are like, Barr appointed him, it's like, losers. No, he didn't.
Right.
Why are you still saying it? Because even when I see people on the right that are verified, like people that think are like, oh, he's a great reporter. He's young and he's a veteran. And it's like, he was a PAO. Do you know what PAO means? That means he was a PSYOP guy. He's totally manipulating the people without knowing. So it's like, no, Sessions did it. Sessions was smart. Sessions was careful, and Sessions was set up. So
okay. So all right. So how long is Barr going to be AG?
Till Labor Day.
Okay, and then
after Labor Day, he's gone.
Okay, and who's going to take over? Who's going to replace him?
That's a really, really good question. I mean, who would I wouldn't put Matt Whitaker after my interview. I wouldn't put him.
Yeah, that was
my interview. No, my interview told me a lot about him.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like, I don't, I interrogated people for a living.
Yeah, me too.
I'm just saying, like, could you tell that I was interrogating totally?
Yeah, and the thing of it was,
right? So good.
He was holding his own until you asked the blackmail question, and then he just fell apart.
Well, he also fell apart before that when I was asking him about the FISA, how I threw it in. Oh yeah, and then we have the sealed one that's buried. And he's like, it's buried for a reason. For real, it is buried. Just confirming again. But there were other things that I drew out, like the DOJ contracts. That's something no one's talking about. How they've been robbing us blind.
Right.
I mean, Trump exposes that, right? And says no more contractors. We're hiring federal people. It's all over for them.
Yeah.
It's all over. There's no deep state. That's how they fund themselves.
Yeah.
They line each other's pockets with money because, like I explained, I'm a contractor right now, right? So as a linguist, right, they need an interpreter for Kazakh, right?
Right.
I get a phone call on my phone. I get paid $60 an hour. But then there's a contracting company from some former general or whatever that pays me the $60. But that company gets paid $100 from another company that's a contractor. That is another general who pays them $100 for my $60. So they make $40 off of me. And then that general, because he's like more new or has more friends, has the contract with, I don't know, who did I interpret for? I don't know, State Department, for example, right? And then the State Department pays him $120 for doing absolutely nothing, but just giving the job to his friend contracting company that contracted me. So in the end, we're paying double for an hour of Tory as taxpayers when you only need to pay $60.
Right.
So they do that on everything. Like, kind of like, did you see how I asked Matt Whitaker, why did we spend $40 million with a Canadian company?
Destroy
waste management. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. To destroy files. Yeah. Right.
Like, sounds like paper shredding to me.
Yeah.
Freaking janitors did Mueller need.
Yeah.
And that company's connected with Canadian intelligence. It's like, are we asking to be hacked or foreign influence anyone? Hello. It's like, it's so ridiculous you laugh, but you're like crying while laughing and saying this isn't okay. And what President Trump needs to do is, the minute he wins these elections, is fire everybody in the White House and go get old Joe from Iowa that's sitting in Dunkin' Donuts to be your baker. Get,
Right.
Joe, who's great at managing, all the Starbucks of this region, to manage the staff here. Get the HR guy. We don't need these DC elites anymore. Okay. We can't.
Yeah.
We can't. I think you can see that too, right?
Yeah. Okay. Christopher Wray.
He needs to go. There's two people in the FBI left that are really, really bad apples. It's Christopher Wray and Cuthbertson. So Cuthbertson is one of the biggest snakes, and he is a VSES, like very SES. Okay, and he's still in the freaking FBI, and nobody talks about him. They're like, yeah, okay, don't see that name. Yeah, for a reason. Hello. Just like Evanina, like, why would you take him, Grinnell? He's like Cuthbertson's little project. Like, why?
Well, okay, but how long do you think Ray will be there? Actually, I mean, do you think Barr, same as Barr?
Yeah, I mean, right now, honestly, okay, let's just say it this way: I would love to see Grinnell move into IG of State Department first of all, so that way he can fire people and do investigations. Period. And I would like to see Flynn be interim FBI director, acting FBI director, and then become vice president.
Yeah, I would like to see him as FBI director too.
But just temporarily.
Yeah.
Just temporarily. Yeah.
Clean it up.
Exactly. Take that big fat room and let it go. And then become vice president, you know, because Pence is going to get sick or something.
Do you think?
He should.
Okay, so are the rumors about Pence true? Pedophilia?
Sombrero. That's our safe word, by the way, guys.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, Ray needs to go. I mean, don't you think the same about Ray?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm one of those optimistic guys. I keep hoping. I keep thinking, okay, he's going to do something good. He's going to do something good, and then times run out. He's had plenty of time to do something good. And I watched his confirmation, and I've watched him be interviewed, and he never has said the right things. And so then he's drug his feet on all this stuff that he should have cleaned up in the FBI. And now I guess the other day, did he come out and say now he's going to start doing something? I mean, this is just, but why, again, why does Trump put him in there? Who told Trump to put this guy in there?
No, he was there before. Okay. Let me tell you something that people don't know about him. So this is something that I'm proposing that the president actually do. And I'm like, dude, totally volunteer to be part of that team. So here's a little tidbit that people didn't know. So, obviously I told you that Brennan was like the Obama whisperer, because Obama is like a petri dish boy. He was actually born in Morocco, even though everyone says Kenya. His mom's name was Stanley Ann. She was a CIA clandestine. She was in Iran with Peter Strzok's dad when they overthrew the Iranian government. Because I'm the one that broke that story about, but Peter Strzok being raised in Iran. This is why Peter Strzok is so loved by Brennan. Okay, just so people know, because Peter Strzok wasn't an FBI agent; he was a CIA.
Yeah, he's CIA, right?
Yeah. And I said that, I even wrote it in Big League Politics. I think Patrick Howley wrote it for me because I didn't want to put my name on it, because I still had, there were a few things that I was worried about putting out there with my name on it. Only because people would be like, "That's not the way NDA works," and it's like, you have no idea, because I'm not afforded whistleblower protection. So.
Right. Right.
So anyway, what Obama did was, after he got in 2009, he created this group. It was called the High Value Intelligence Group, the HAG, the HVIG. Now, if you go searching for it online, it's going to give you something called High Value Detainee Group, some BS. It's not true. But if you dig more, I've actually saved 2 articles that talk about it. So here's what happened. In 2009, he created this group. The front-facing members that were finally put into the charter in 2011 or 2010, put into the charter. First of all, he was forced to make a charter. That's number one. Second of all, the names that were on it were Robert Mueller, James Comey, Christopher Wray, H.R. McMaster, Rod Rosenstein, Andrew McCabe, and David Cuthbertson. So who are the 2 clowns left in that group? Now that high value intelligence group was reported directly to the president. It was like his little huddle group, right? Now, this little huddle group was actually exposed by Blair, the former DNI, before Yeah. And what happened was he was talking about, some jihadi. He was like, yeah, the Obama's high value intelligence group actually questioned them back in 2009. He said this in 2010, right? And then the report that I have from CBS or NBC says, oh, he's like, oh, it's not really a formal group because he slipped.
Mm-hmm.
So right after he slipped saying it, guess what happened to him? He got fired.
Uh-huh.
And he was replaced a few months later after that slip. And then, then they created a charter and went on the record. So the president of the United States should clearly have people like me, a lot of me's and you, that remember things, can put things together, sitting in a basement somewhere in Camp David so nobody annihilates us, and just give us really good coffee, a cigarette area, and computers, and we'll just do our thing.
Yeah, I would love to start auditing every department in the government.
Man, we should start with USAID because we'll be here until dinosaurs come back. That one is like, you can't balance that checkbook.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you did it, even if you distributed it among the multi-million existing parallel universes and gave like 100. Oh my God, it's the most tangled machine washing. It's money laundering on steroids, basically.
Right.
So this is something that I hope President Trump does. And I said that on Friday, and so weirdly enough, did you see the reports of him trying to make a secret group to like investigate stuff? Did you see that? I was like, yes, it's working.
Oh no, I didn't see that, but get me on that if you can.
Well, I think it was like that President Trump is going to create a group to start investigating something, like his own private group to investigate some fraud stuff. Or I saw it on my Twitter feed, but I went to go get some sun, so I wasn't really paying attention.
Right.
But I saw it and I was like, yes, that's exactly what we need. Independent, non-DC, from the middle of nowhere. I want the redneckiest redneck on it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's what I need.
Okay, listen, we've been going 2 hours. I do appreciate your time. Would you come back sometime again and talk to me?
Totally. And maybe you can come on my show and talk to me too.
I would do that. Okay. So why don't you tell everybody how they can find you?
So they can find me everywhere, actually, right? You can find me on their airwaves, on Red State Talk Radio. You can find me on ToriSays.com. You can find me on Twitter at Tori_says. I have a Facebook page, Tori Says. I write for other people like Loomerd.
Breitbart. Do you write for Breitbart?
Not anymore. Anymore. No. See, this is the thing. You move along after the business changes hands.
Okay.
As always. You can find me almost everywhere. I'm everywhere. So yeah, you can find me on 8kun. Sometimes I still go back to 4chan, just lurking though there. Yeah, and I also have a Subscribe Star, but that's where I put like little tidbits, like stuff that I don't want public, like little audio files that only some people can see about certain topics that have to do with time travel and other projects that you don't say on airwaves, kind of thing.
Right.
And I just want to say, like, listening to your stuff, I love it. We should do a show together, definitely.
Well, thank you. Okay. Well, I want to have you back because I've got a whole page here of stuff that we didn't get to, but I've held you here for 2 hours and I feel bad already. So, I know we're going to have plenty of stuff to talk about going forward. I think it's just going to be coming fast and furious to use a phrase borrowed from Eric Holder and Barry. I call him Barry Satoro. I just can't help it.
Hussein, he's a petri dish boy, by the way. His mom never carried him.
Who is it? Okay, so who's his father?
Who isn't? He was in.
Is it Davis? Was it Davis?
He's different. Like I said, he's different.
Okay.
It's kind of like where I studied from. He's different. It's very
Okay.
very
Yeah.
different. And it's actually quite well documented by his mother, Stanley Ann, who raised him, his mother.
Right. Right.
But
Right.
just the thing, we could probably hang out here June, July, August, where we're all going to be pulling our hair, where we're going to be thinking they're winning because they're going to be pulling out some really crazy guns. Specifically, July 4th, like we need to start praying. That's all I have to say. Before we hang up here and end this, like, guys, just pray. I don't care what religion you are, pray, because it's getting really scary. They're desperate now. They're clawing.
Right. Yeah, that's been apparent to me for a while that they are desperate. And that's why people don't understand. All I have to do is look at what CNN is saying, and I know I'm comfortable that Trump hasn't flipped sides, right? Because they have been in panic mode since he got elected. They tried to get him, they tried to do the recounts, and then they tried to, basically strong arm the Electoral College, and they even took that to the Supreme. Is that now before the Supreme Court about the Electoral College?
Well, the Supreme Court's not going to touch it because SCOTUS
Well,
is about to get lit. Okay.
oh yeah, and that was one thing. Roberts, okay. I can't let you go without it. Can you talk? Because all right, so we were contacted, and this was probably, I'm going to say 2010 or 2011, and I've told this story before. People have heard this story. We were contacted to put out information on Roberts because we knew they had him compromised. Okay, huge compromise. I mean, because when Bush, put him on the Supreme Court, he got to go right to the head of the class, right? He didn't, because there's it's like a frat there at the Supreme Court, right? You're the new guy in, you got to get everybody coffee, you got to work your way up. Well, Roberts, they just put him right at the head of the class. He was the Chief Justice right away, right? So we heard that they had some information on him, that they had him compromised, and they were going to come to us for us to put it out. This was, I believe, 2011. Well, anyway, time passes. What's going on? And we finally hear that Hillary swoops in and buys the information. So I know he's compromised, and I think you've hinted that he was involved in the January 5th meeting. Doesn't surprise me. Can we talk about that? Or
yeah, I mean, I saw it. I mean, I saw the notes from it. Like, when I tell people, like, oh, because I tweeted out the day that Adam Schiff was talking about how to set up the Ukraine call, I tweeted out a picture of the logo of the phone system they used.
Okay.
In 2019. And I was like, oh, I'm listening to you, Schiff. Better be careful. I was telling them that because this was my new account. They didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
My personal Twitter account was banned the minute I started dropping declassified documents. Twitter shut me down so quick. I couldn't, I didn't do anything wrong. I was just dropping, declassified MOUs that I sourced properly. And it was like, whoop, I was shut down. And I had a couple AGs filed to courts telling me not to use the internet. It's like,
oh, wow.
It's America, not China yet. But so what happened with Roberts is, this BS that she wrote the email to herself and notes like that.
Right.
So there were 2 meetings, and Roberts was actually tapped in to see if the Supreme Court could give advice for being able to annul the elections or delay the inauguration based on information they had.
Uh-huh.
So how they all went crazy in December before even the calls with Kislyak. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
This happened before the calls, because now they're only talking about the unmasking of Flynn.
Right.
We can talk about the unmasking of so many people.
Mm-hmm.
So many, right?
Yeah.
Because they were trying to find anyone they could connect and put in. I mean, look at the people they took to jail. They were all confidants of the president. That's it.
Right.
Right? No real crimes. Okay, fine. Manafort did some shady stuff, but he's a lawyer and he worked in DC lobbying for people. Of course he's going to do shady stuff.
Right.
He was working with the Podestas. I mean, come on.
Right, right.
It's like, so he goes to jail, but Podesta raping kids, eating kids, dressing, doing all these things, no big deal. But anyway, so Roberts actually was in those meetings.
He
And
was
there is confirmation.
wait. Physically there?
No, like called
By
in. So
okay, by
yeah.
phone. Yeah, okay.
So there is actually confirmation of that. That's going to be huge when it comes out
Yeah,
because, I am so surprised that they don't even have the fact that he was there. And the thing is, Fitton, right, from Judicial Watch,
right.
he actually has emails after that meeting talking about the next meeting where they were all rushing to do stuff. And that was for Roberts. They were trying to put together the legal documentation to delay the inauguration to allow an investigation. And
Oh
it's
my
like
gosh.
no one's talking. Yeah, but the thing is, I've sent it. Listen, I don't want to upset a lot of your listeners, and I upset mine whenever I say it. But these people that you watch on Fox that you love, right? Except for Tucker. I'm gonna name it out. Tucker's awesome. I love Tucker. Like
He
I would
is.
be a sister wife for him. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just to be around him. Okay. Not,
And
uh,
yeah,
but he there are big reporters, female and male,
yeah,
that have this information, that has been provided to them because, I don't have any more copies of that because then I could probably be like rounded up by Mueller. So I got rid of
right,
those copies.
right.
I actually sent those copies to them and none of them reported on it. I was so pissed.
I'm not
Sent them
surprised.
copies. Not only of that, but I sent them, traffic camera footage, like video of Brennan, Strzok, Page, all of them going to the GCHQ headquarters
Mm-hmm.
on jump drives to the studios.
Right.
And I know and none of them did it. And most of them, they get retweeted by the president. The president probably has no idea, and it makes me sick because
Right.
they had all of this and they could have, we wouldn't be here where we are today. I'm just being dead honest. If
Mm-hmm.
the journalists didn't do a disservice to themselves. Because even the ones that you see, like the big names, the female big names, right? The male too,
Yeah.
that are out there. It's like Mark Levin. I'm sorry, I don't know if you like him, but I loathe
I
him.
don't.
I
I
talk
don't.
about him on my radio show all the time. He's such a liar, such a tool, such an opportunist, and he sells, just sells, just period.
Yeah. Yeah.
But all these journalists that are supposedly on the Trump team are not. Because if they were, they would have I gave them evidence. I'm not saying like, oh yeah, I kind of said, hey, I just know because I'm a timer. I gave them
Mm-hmm.
traffic camera footage, not a still, actual footage from outside of a private coffee shop where they're talking with audio. I sent them crossing the street by the embankment. I sent them documents, that I got rid of the minute I sent it to them. Computer was destroyed too. I was like, I don't need anybody rating me because I don't
Right.
think I could use the excuse the DNC did say, hold on a second, let me image it for you.
Mm-hmm.
It only works for the DNC. So they did a disservice. And it makes me so sick. Because if ever I went to the White House and he's like, oh, I like that reporter, I'll be like, let me tell you about this reporter. So, no. Liars out. He has nobody. Like, even the little we see, Paladin, he has nobody.
Yeah.
They're all lying.
No, I know. It just infuriates me when they talk about the reason the media attacks Trump is because they hate him. No, he's going to get rid of them. He's going to get them all arrested. That's why they don't. Yeah, they may hate him, but that's not why they're after him. They're after him because they're scared they're all going to get put in jail because they're all blackmailed and pedophiles and everything else. That's why they're concerned about it, and he's going to expose all of that. And it just infuriates me. And Hannity just, he's nothing but a cover-up artist for the Bush crime family and always has been. And he just infuriates me too. And Tucker, Tucker is doing what he can do, and he's really been knocking it out of the park here in the last couple of months.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome. And he's actually, stuff that he's gotten, he's reported on.
Mm-hmm.
And there's stuff that he's not going to report on because it's just not his spiel.
Yeah.
But for people that are supposedly investigative journalists that come on and say, I did this, and everyone jumps whenever they post something.
Right.
What a loser. Like if I was to see them down at the convention, which I'm going to go to, right?
Mm-hmm.
if we have it, if they don't like coronavirus us in the middle of August.
Right.
Again, 2.0. And, if it's a safety issue for our president too, because we've got Ronna McDaniel, giving a gaping back end hole into, the RNC server. I would say I'd rather the president not go for his safety, right? But if I was to see them, I'd be like, dude, you're a loser. I totally tell them to their face. I tell them to their face, actually.
Yeah.
They don't do anything for me, and they did nothing. It was a complete disservice. I mean, the only thing is I'm going to ask each and every one of them, why didn't you do it? And I want to see what they say, because if they say they didn't get it, I know that 2 of the people might have not gotten it because their producers received it, and their producers have been fired since then. Right. So it could have been that those producers put it forward and then they were canned. Right. But the other ones, the ones that are still like, oh, I get all the good interviews and, I tell people the truth and ask hard questions. Right. They got it themselves. Like I got confirmation, like, because I had people in there take a picture that they got it. So, so that's just how Roberts is all over this. We could have stopped this we wouldn't be where we are right now at all. I was sending letters to President Trump all of 2017. Like when Rex Tillerson was fired, I had sent the letter Wednesday before he was fired to the president, and I paid like $90 something to get it overnighted. Okay. And in the letter it said, fire Rex Tillerson because he's meeting with the Kenyans. If he tells you he's sick tomorrow and can't have a meeting, fire him. And he was fired that Monday. And he was sick. I was like, see, my sources panned out. But yeah, that's the Somali sources, because I know that stuff really well. The president doesn't get any information from us, Paladin, and it's up to all your lovely listeners and mine to make sure we make so much noise that they can't shut us up.
Okay, we'll do that. Okay, Tori, thank you very much for coming on. I know my listeners have enjoyed this 2 hours, and we will definitely get you back again for sure.
Yeah, no, and I totally enjoyed you, and I feel like I was talking more, but that's probably the coffee too.
No, that's the reason that we're interviewing you, so you talk more than me. I just ask the questions. Okay.
I see how that works. No, but I like our blunders. That's why. But thank you for having me on. I totally enjoyed it, and I can't wait to come back on with you. And to all your listeners, all I would say is make sure you're not following more people than you can actually see.
Keep up with,
Right. Even if you read one tweet a second, like you shouldn't have more than that in a day. And don't participate in that operation, and just be loud and file lawsuits.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Tori, for coming on. I just want to remind everybody, tomorrow is Memorial Day, and this is to honor men and women who gave their lives in the military, and they're the ones who gave us our freedom. We're the ones who've got to keep it. So let's keep that in mind as we go forward here. Get active, do something in your community, make a lot of noise on the internet, because we are literally fighting for our lives and our freedoms. And if you haven't figured that out by now, you've got to come to that realization, because this is going to be a point in history that's going to define the way the United States goes forward, and even the rest of the world. And we have our opportunity, and we may not have another one. So with that, I want to wish everyone a happy and safe Memorial Weekend, and we'll see you next time. Paladin out.